Holy shit, we're live! Hello everyone and welcome to the first ever stream on Kick, apparently. So let's do a little bit of announcement. Let's actually bring everyone together. So can you guys see me? Can you guys hear me? I hope you can hear me and see me well. So let's do a little bit of announcement. Wait. Green circle, right, live on Kick. And what are we doing today is recreational programming. And I'm gonna give the link to where we're doing all that. Kick.com/Tsoding, right? So it's actually HTTPS. And I'm gonna ping everyone who's interested in being pinged. I'm gonna kick everyone who's interested in being kicked. So hello, welcome. I fucked up, chat. No, I didn't get banned on Twitch, by the way. So it's actually way more stupid than that. It is insanely way more stupid. I needed to relog into Twitch, right? And it asked for two-factor authentication, you know, the usual two-factor authentication thing. And yeah, I couldn't actually pass it because it's actually based on SMS, right, on my SMS messages and stuff like that. And apparently recently Russian mobile network operators started to block foreign numbers, right? So started to block foreign numbers and I can't receive the two-factor authentication code. Hello, welcome. And here's the thing. Okay, so I got logged out from one account. I have a different account, right? So a different setup where I'm still logged in, right? So and essentially, I couldn't change the two-factor authentication system because it asks for the SMS again. So I kind of like got deadlocked in there. I actually got deadlocked and I just created like a support ticket and I'm gonna hear back from them, I suppose. All right, so I'm gonna hear back from them and hopefully we're gonna get back to Twitch. So Tsoding, would you like many views? Let's make you popular. But here's the thing, I'm already popular. Don't you realize that you're watching right now? You, Mr. Spammer, you're watching right now the legendary dynamic array, guys. Everybody knows me, right? I'm the dynamic array guy, right? So it's like I'm already popular. So I don't fucking need any promotion or anything like that. It's just like, yeah. Lower, what's up? Oh, by the way, so Siphon, I think I need to make mods. So here is the Le Siphon, and also let's make Laur mods as well. So this is the OGs of the channel. By the way, there is an OG tag of some sort, right? So who wants to be an OG? Let's actually make Dusky Elf an OG. You are OG now. So I suppose it's like a VIP, but you know, but for Kick. Okay. Do you experience any technical problems right now? Chat, tell me, do you have any technical problems? Is the platform working okay? So can we actually stream here for a little bit until the Twitch is resolved? Okay, looking good, works perfectly. There's a lot of also emotes in here, by the way. So there's lots of emotes. There's a B-Boomer. Oh, holy shit, there is a B-Boomer in here. What the fuck? There is a B-Boomer, my favorite. So watching from Russia. So it is not blocked in Russia, right? So they understand correctly. It is not blocked in Russia. So it's kind of funny. It's just like there's a lot of like gambling in here, and it is not banned in Russia, right? Okay. Where is the absolute coding emote? We can probably add it. So we can probably add it. How do you add emotes? Let's actually see, chat. Let's actually see. So it's going to be kick.com dashboard. So there should be something for Twitch. Okay, so bitrate seems great. So everything seems to be fine for everybody. Okay, so here's the channel, and I'm not gonna go into stream URL in the most, obviously. So there's a role community. Is that a community? Okay, so we can actually add channel emotes. We only need to find the absolute budgeting image. Does anybody have like an absolute budgeting link with image? Because I can't really find it. So we can actually try to like upload it in here. If somebody finds it, I'll upload. So let's maybe put some sort of a timer, right? Some sort of a timer. And we're gonna spend like maybe 5 minutes or maybe 10 minutes waiting for everybody. And maybe we're gonna do some coding. The player kind of sheds itself when I click the UI button, but it seems more functional than Twitch so far and much faster. Exactly, exactly. It's still kind of wacky website, but compared to Twitch, it's actually magnitudes better, surprisingly. And I suspect that maybe because the team is smaller, right? The team is generally smaller, and the code base is not riddled with technical depth, right? So because of that, it's kind of easy for them to optimize it. So thank you so much, Kamikaze. Really appreciate you. So save the image. Let's actually save it to download. So budgeting. So this is le budgeting. I hope it supports AVF. By the way, what is AVF format? I never heard about it. AVF format. Is that like a new image format? So it's for real. It's a V1 image format that is more an open source. Okay, so, well, I mean, it's kind of funny, but anyways, can I? Okay, so I can add. So emote previewer download. Yeah. But where is the? Didn't I download the budgeting, or did I download it? Wait. Where did I download it? Does anybody remember? Budgeting. Am I an idiot? Being an idiot? Yeah, here's the... it just doesn't support Aviv. It never showed it. Okay, I see, chat. I see how it is. I see how it fucking is. We'll have to use convert or image magic, right? So this is going to be convert, and I'm going to be converting this thing. Can you, by the way, see what I'm doing? Or maybe I should move the chat a little bit to the right, like this. So that's much better, I think. That is much better. So the default images look really funny. Yeah, they're kind of funny. So anyway, so this is the budgeting, and we're gonna change it to PNG. Okay, so if I open budgeting PNG, it does look like a budgeting PNG. Okay, so let's actually go in here. Let's emote preview. Downloads budgeting. Good enough, I suppose. Good. So is it gonna... I'm pressing say. Okay, so it took some time to... What the fuck is that? Why is it cut? Oh, no, it's not cut. It's so small, but you can kind of make it out. I think you can kind of make it out. Right, so, and is it... I probably have to refresh my chat to be able to see it. So is it... Yeah, it's a Soding coding actually. Yeah, it's so squished. Holy fuck. Yeah, it's so squished, but I mean, yeah, anyway. Coding. So what we're gonna be doing today, right? So we're doing a little bit of a testing of this platform, right? So, and yeah, still can't see it for some reason. Is that like because some people needs to be viewers? So just press a colon, right? And start typing coding. And it will show you the emote, right? Show you the emote, and then you can press OK. So that's how it works essentially. So what we're going to be doing today, should we do a little bit of a coding? I think we should do a little bit of a coding. I don't even know how many viewers do we have right now. So do we have a lot of... Oh, holy shit! Is that how many viewers we have? Oh, holy shit! Is that how many viewers? Shut up, Tsoding. I don't give a shit about your opinion. Is that 280? Seriously, already? I thought we're gonna have like under 100, so I was hoping it's gonna be like a quiet, like a chill stream, but apparently the whole gang is here. The whole Twitch gang is here. So yeah, we gain it. I see. So since it's kind of like a test stream, I can't even close this thing, by the way. Oh, now I managed to close it. Since it's like a test stream, I don't plan to do anything super complicated, right? So let's actually do something simple, relatively simple. Zig stream, it's not simple, honestly. It's gonna be emotionally heavy, let's put it this way, right? No LLVM today. No LLVM. Like all of that is kind of difficult. Zig with WASM is cool. What's so cool about it? So the minimal runtime. So does Zig have heavy runtime for WebAssembly? If it doesn't, it's actually kind of cool, right? So because when you program for WebAssembly, you kind of want to keep the runtime of your application as small as possible. Okay, so 5 minutes has passed. Let's pour some water. And let's do some coding, because I have one thing that I want you to do. I actually want you to do it offline, but since it's a test stream, let's do it online. Shouldn't be that difficult. Shouldn't be that difficult. Okay, so you see this timer? You see this timer? It originally was implemented in SDL2, but we then ported it to RGFW, which is basically like a GLFW competitor, right? So RGFW, do we have this thing in here? Or RGFW? It's like GLFW, right? Programmers are really good at naming things, right? So it's like GLFW, but a single header library. So I really recommend you to check out this specific thing. So, by the way, do we have a title on this stream? I'm really sorry. It's not Twitch. Reflexes, old reflexes. Do we have a title? I feel like we don't have a title on this stream, so we'll probably have to set it up. Yeah, so it says my first stream. Yeah, it's my first. Okay, good enough. I think it's a good enough title, so I'm gonna keep it in. My first ever stream. Like, I'm a first-time streamer, right? I never streamed before, so this is my first attempt. So yeah. And so we recently moved to RGFW, and it introduced a little bit of a problem, right? So especially when you resize this entire thing. Do you notice something when I resize this application? Do you notice something? Why it's lagging so much? The thing is, the SDL version never lagged like that. So let me demonstrate you actually. Let me demonstrate you. So I'm gonna put the chat a little bit to the right, and maybe I'm going to actually open the Emacs. Test passed. Okay, so I'm gonna go into Suwon. So the application, by the way, is called Suwon. If you wanna check out the specific application, I can recommend you to check this link. It's not clickable, it's kind of weird, so it's supposed to be clickable. Let me try to copy paste it one more time. So here it is, it has to be clickable now. So, and did you hear that? Next, if I can remove that. So if I open the SDL version, oh yeah, so it's using a different font, but that's besides the point. Look at that. This is how it's supposed to react. This is how it's supposed to react. And now take a look at RGFW version. I have no idea why it actually acts like that, but when I ported the same application to GLFW and SDL, but OpenGL version, right? Because before on SDL, it depended on the SDL texture and stuff like that. That was never reproducible. It's something specific to RGFW, and specifically to version 1.7, because I also ported it to RGFW 1.8 and it went away. So yeah, it's something specific to this version of RGFW, and since in the next version it got fixed, see, the diff is actually rather huge, because there was a lot of modifications between 1.7 and 1.8, unfortunately, so it's kind of difficult to pinpoint. We could bisect that, but I don't know, bisecting this entire thing is also kind of huge, especially considering that between 1.7 and 1.8 there were breaking API changes. So we can't even bisect it easily, because while we're bisecting, the application will be breaking. So we'll have to adapt it to a change in API. So we can't even bisect it properly. So to find, it's kind of stupid, but I mean, the newer version fixes it. And the thing is, the newer version was in development for some time, and Riley colleague actually released it recently. So I was postponing to moving to a newer version, right? So because it was in development, but now it is finally released. It is finally released, and I can finally migrate to a newer version. So which is kind of cool. And I wanted to do that offline because it's kind of like a maintenance work. But since this is a test stream, we might as well do that on the stream in a recreational programming session fashion. How about that? So let's freaking go. Let's go ahead and just try to migrate this entire scheiße. So here's Le Soon. And I'm going to, so here's the digits that we modified in here. Let's rebuild the whole thing. So it's using make files. Okay. All right, so we're rebuilding everything. It's taken some time, right? And if I take a look at RGFW in here, yeah, it is lagging, laggy-wagging. Recreation maintenance, well, yeah, I mean, it's still programming. Maintenance is still programming. Man, it's so lucky. But anyways, so let's actually download the latest version of RGFW. Git has a feature called bisect where you can, oh yeah, so people don't know what is a bisect, right? So essentially you know that the bug occurred somewhere between that commit and that commit, right? But you don't know where exactly. Instead of checking each individual commit linearly, you can actually do binary search, right? So have you heard about the binary search algorithm? So essentially it enables you to automate the process of binary searching the range of commits. So you mark one commit as good and one commit as bad. Then it finds the middle, right? And you check if the bug is still there, and then you tell the commit, okay, this is a good commit. So it narrows down the range and suggests you the next commit. And then you say, okay, so this is a bad one. It narrows down and it quickly allows you to find a commit where the bug was introduced, like in log n time, where n is the amount of commits in the range. Right, so it's basically binary search, but on commits. And it is insanely useful. I rarely use this feature, but when I do, it's a freaking lifesaver. I'm telling you, it's an insane lifesaver because you have a huge, usually like range, 100 commits, right? So, and you need to find where the bug was introduced. You can't easily do that. So, and it's like allows you to quickly do things. So, but the problem can occur if checking where the bug is there is kind of difficult, right? So in our case, again, in the range of commits where the bug occurred, the API was constantly changing. So every time we need to check whether the commit is good or bad, we'll have to change the application to adapt it to existing API. And only then we'll be able to tell whether it's a good commit or a bad commit. So yeah, well, instead of using our application, maybe we could have narrowed down the, repro example for reproducing the bug, but you'll still have to adapt it to a newer API. So it's kind of, time consuming. So it's not going to save us any time, especially considering that the bug is fixed anyway. So who cares where exactly it was introduced? Am I right? So that's why I always try to make every commit working. Well, I mean, so I see what you mean. Anyways, so let's freaking go. So we need to download this entire thing. All right, that's a lot of. This is the changelog in the newest version. There was a lot of changes. There was a lot of breaking changes. Look at the amount of the breaking changes. Like holy shit! But props to Riley. He actually documented each individual breaking change. This is very cool. Thank you so much. Right. So it's just like, it's very cool. But I suppose that the way we're going to be adapting is that I'm going to just like slap a new version, just see where it doesn't compile and just find an analog and change it to that. So that's probably the way we're going to be working with all of that. Yeah. Makes sense to me. The usual stuff, the usual. It's so like mechanical and routine that I suppose even some sort of AI engine could do that if they were good. Unfortunately, they're all trash. So, so let's actually download Linux versions. Yeah, so we have a Linux version, even though it's a header-only library. So whether it's Linux or Windows is not particularly applicable in here. Compiler-assisted programming. Yeah, so it's a compiler-assisted programming. How is the T temperature recorded? It's actually CPU. Like at the bottom, the panel at the bottom is just bullshit, honestly. It's a default i3 panel, just literally default i3 panel. I open the config, and in front of the default parameters, I just put some meme bullshit, right? Things like useless protocol, T, leaked IP, fairy dust, by the way, is a battery charge for the laptop, because I'm streaming from a laptop, so... It's just like it's a bunch of bullshit. T, it's a CPU temperature. Days before Panger folder. Yeah, so we also have a Panger folder. 4 gigabytes. Oh my god. You had a sound. Nah. It's too much effort. Like, I don't really like setups with a lot of moving parts. You know what I'm saying? Right. So people have a lot of setups where like they have different sensors, different trackers, and so on and so forth. And it's like those setups, like they're very finicky. And if you make your content depend too much on a very complicated and finicky setup, it makes it difficult to reproduce it later. You know? That's why I don't use green screens and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of tech, tech content creators love green screens for some freaking reason. I don't like them, right? So it's all finicky. It's additional stuff to your setup. So, and I'm such a person that, I like simplicity. So my setup is so simple. At any point, you can actually like just, move somewhere and nothing will change. My content does not depend on any of this fancy technical thing. Riley, what's up? What's up, Riley? You are the OG of the channel. You are the OG. Let me actually make you. Colleague Riley. There you go. And maybe I also need to make a code cat. OG. So I'll see. So I'm sorry if I missed any of the OGs of the channel, right? So as I see the OGs, I'll actually give you the OG rank. Though OGs are like VIPs on Twitch, they kind of limited in amount, right? I think we can only have like 50 OGs. So I don't know. This Canadian guy uses green screen to add a Russian apartment background. Yeah, that's exactly what they do. Yes. So let's freaking go. I already downloaded this entire thing, so let's just unpack. All right, what do we have in here? We've got the libraries. I don't really care about the pre-built libraries, but I do care about this header. So let's actually add this header to the third-party dependencies. We have the folder in here. I'm gonna literally copy-paste this thing in here. And somebody said, look at the div. Okay, let's look at the div. So yeah. So where exactly the bug was introduced? I mean, Windows new lines, by the way. This is by the way Windows new lines. So I know what kind of machine Riley is using. So he's using the Windows machine. Well, I mean, it's just like I think it's a carriage return of some sort. Emacs always shows it. Well, I mean, it depends depending on the mod, it will show it or not show it. So yeah, where is the bug? Like, I don't freaking know. So it's somewhere there, kind of difficult to tell. So that's why you need to bisect. But bisecting this entire thing is also kind of difficult. Anyways, so let's try to build and see how miserably it fails. So first thing that fails is in the OpenGL loader. By the way, Riley, have you seen the thing I did with like loading OpenGL functions? Have you seen the cool thing I did? So each OpenGL extension function is a lazy loaded. So essentially this is a macro, right, that checks the variable, and variable is a function pointer, and initially they're all null. So if it is not null, it just calls it. If it is null, it loads it. Right, so if your code doesn't use any of the functions will not be loaded. I'm so freaking proud of this hack. It's so cool. It's just like it calls it for the first, it loads it when it calls it for the first time, and then it doesn't load it the second time. Fast load times. Well, I mean, our application is very small and not performance critical, so I didn't think this kind of tricks don't really impact performance that much. So I even left a comment in here. So each lazy loaded OpenGL function call might be slightly slower due to an additional condition check. which is true, right? So here is an additional condition check. But this is not a performance critical application. Change this to something better when performance issues occur, right? So that's basically my approach. It's kind of useful. And I introduced it when somebody who uses macOS complained that the application is trying to load some functions that don't exist on macOS, and we were not using those functions. So instead of trying to satisfy like everybody and find the common set of functions that is we're using and available everywhere, I just say, okay, load only the thing that you use, right? So, and it kind of worked, right? I think it's a pretty good approach in here. So, oh, it's a penguin operate. It's so fucking funny. As far as I know, this person is harassing all of the tech streamers on Twitch as well, and everybody is banning them. It's so freaking funny. It's just like, oh, he's also here. Okay. Anyways, cheers. This person is very enthusiastic about tech, what can I say? And likes to troll people a little bit. So anyways. So the first thing that failed is we don't have this function anymore. So it got renamed to something. But we have a pretty cool changelog. Can we actually use this changelog to see whether it was... it's not mentioned in the changelog. Look at that. That's kind of interesting. So yeah, I suppose that part was not documented. Apparently it was not documented. Okay, so the first thing we can try to do, we can try to search for this function. Okay. So it is called now OpenGL, I presume. So 1.80. It might be actually, so there was 2 releases. I actually doubt it. I think there's no 1.80. I think there's 1.7 and then 1.81 instant. I see. So, and here are the breaking changes. Okay, you're right. So let's actually find that specific breaking change, and there you go. So get proc.ds, change the return type of that to, well, that is true, but anyway, I think that was just simply not documented, right? So we're gonna assume that it's not documented, and I presume the function that we have to use right now is _OpenGL, right? So let's just go ahead and try to do that. So OpenGL. So let's freaking go ahead and rebuild the whole thing. Might as well, by the way, only rebuild the soon RGFW. So soon RGFW, and it didn't work. I suspect that now you probably have to explicitly say that you want to use OpenGL, RGFW OpenGL. You probably have to explicitly enable this macro, because I remember that Riley added the like a software rendered support, right? So you can now have like a window which renders into like a frame buffer on X11. And yeah, so you might not necessarily even use OpenGL with RGFW. So let's actually give it a try and try to maybe enable, this thing. So software render is new cool thing. By the way, why everybody is so obsessed with software rendering lately, right? So RGFW have a software rendering, like Raylib have software rendering. Is just like, is that after my tweet about making software render games, stuff like that? It's kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe I just have a huge ego, which could be a thing, right? It could be a thing. But I noticed a weird trend that when I make a topic about something, a lot of other people start talking about it, but never explicitly mentioning me. It's kind of like, I just do a thing, and I just see the whole community kind of resonate talking about it, but no explicitly. Is that a case of a huge ego, or just like maybe I'm hallucinating? But something weird is going on sometimes. It's just like, why? It's kind of sus. It could be just algorithm. Yeah, that is actually true. It's like, maybe it's the algorithms that influence me. I do not notice that, and I start talking about particular topic, and the same algorithms noticing other tech content create. Okay, so yeah, okay, that makes sense actually. Baron-Meinhof paradox. I don't remember what exactly it is, but I think I suspect what you're talking about. Right. Confirmation bias. Yeah, it's probably confirmation bias. That's true. RGW software rendering was there for a while. Okay, so that's 100% confirmation bias, as usual. But anyways, so let's actually go and enable the OpenGL, because I hope this is how you enable it. Let's go. Right, so where is the next thing? There is no RGFW rec. So did you remove RGFW rec? Excuse me, there was such a useful type. Did you just remove RGFWX? Anyways, can I do something about that? Because I was using it in my own code as well. Wait, yeah, I was using it in my own code as well. Can I maybe bring it back? Can I bring it back? I think I should be able to bring it back. Let's put it in here. Let's try to recompile the whole thing. And the semicolon obviously spent 3 hours debugging, and it was a single missing semicolon. Okay, send GL hint. It is not a thing in RGFW. Okay, so what is... Okay, so it's GL hints in num. Okay, so let me quickly copy paste this kind of thing. Yeah. So GL hints in num. I think I remember this thing. When I was looking into RGFW, I kind of know like half of the changes of the API. So I think what you have to do, you have to get this thing. Yeah, so you can set this thing, and you can also get all of the hints. So the first thing we can do, we can actually, you know, get the hints and set the hints that we need in here, right? So the hints that we need in here is that the profile has to be GL core, and the version is major and minor versions have to be 3 and 3. So that's what we have to do. So let's freaking go. It will be kind of interesting to see what are the default hints in there, but that requires like creating a separate application. But creating a separate application might not be that difficult, right? So because what it requires to just include RGFW. So here's your RGFW. It also requires defining RGFW implementation, right? So because by default, this kind of single header libraries, they act like headers. So to include implementations, you have to explicitly do that. So here's the OpenGL, and then create an entry point. And I think that is it. I think that is literally it, and that should already kind of compile and give you the expected thing. So then we're going to return a 0. So then if I try to compile this entire stuff, so it's going to be full C. I also want to enable the debugger because I want to look into that in the debugger. It cannot find the header, which is understandable because it's located in third party. All right, and that seems to be... Oh yeah, because it's a signature, you have to get rid of the void. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So it also needs to link with like X11, and it also needs to have, I think it's X-render. I'm pretty sure it is X-render, and also GLX. Is that a GLX? There we go, look at that. I guessed all of the libraries. Wayland when? Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. I never tried Wayland in my entire life somehow. I'm a little bit afraid to try it, so I don't even know exactly how Wayland works. So if I understood correctly, Wayland combines together the like a rendering server and the window manager. It's like becomes the same thing, right? Do I understand that correctly? So X11 was responsible for just rendering the thing, and then on top you have, okay, so it's, I see. So that's basically what it does. So that means it's like, it's, yeah, the compositor. Can you have X11 with i3 and sway on the same machine. And how would you switch between them? Right. So do modern display managers support this kind of setup? Right, so in a display manager, can I say, okay, I want to today use X11 with i3. Then next day, okay, I want to use sway. Is it possible, or is it, yeah. You can have an X11 server inside of Wayland. Ah, that's very interesting. Display managers support that. Okay, you just switch in something like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about, Siphon. This is exactly, so Light DM, so they do support that. So the reason why I didn't want to try Wayland is that I thought it's going to be a huge pain in the ass to switch between the two, but if the display managers just support that, I think I should just install it, by the way. The query sway, right? So I can try sway. Sway is support. Look at that. So I just, yeah, compositor compatible with i3. So I wonder, like, does OBS work well with Wayland? Right. So here's the thing. I'm too fucking old. So I'm too fucking old. I just, like, for me, Wayland is this new untested thing. But apparently, and the more I looked into younger developers like around, apparently everyone is like now using it these days, so it's fine. It works, but you won't have global bindings if you use those. Ah, okay. Live Wayland install progress. Well, I won't be able to switch to that. Yeah. I had to install, set up some XDG desktop portal crap for OBS to work. Oh, so there's still problems with Wayland stuff, right? So there's still problems. So let me bring the chat for YouTube people. I did never tried Wayland for any non-trivial amount of time. I see. So, but I mean, Spiritman, you're also boomer, right? You're literally just like me. So it's just like you're not saying anything new to me. We need somebody who's, yeah, feels old. I understand. Not all applications support Wayland directly. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is one of the reasons is why I didn't try it. It's just like there's too much, you know, problems. You need portals because Wayland doesn't have shit in the protocol, if I remember correct. I see. Damn, so it's still a mess. So ad blocker works on Kik and doesn't have ads. Kik doesn't have ads? Well, I mean, that's understandable. They're associated with some gambling companies or something like that. I think they don't need any ads. I have a feeling, like, given the shady background of Kik, I feel like they have no problem monetizing any of that stuff. So it's just like they have no problem with money. I don't like Kik. I don't know. I have no opinion on Kik, honestly, because I'm interfacing with just the chat, and chat works fine. Ads for poor, yeah, exactly. Who's shader, gambling companies or Amazon? Yeah, that's kind of interesting. So in the past, by the way, I think Twitch had like a higher moral ground over Kik because it didn't allow any gambling and stuff like that. It's just like, but now there's also gambling on Twitch, and it's just like there's literally no difference between Twitch and Kik except the color. Twitch is purple and Kik is green. So, and both use the same backend, by the way. So. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. Same shit. Both use AWS, but I suppose like almost everybody uses AWS these days. So. Anyway, so what I want to do, I want to open this thing in Le Debugger. Well, I mean, we have to do something like that. Okay. So I'm gonna break on main, run, and let's do a little bit of a step. And let's take a look at the hints. So I suppose hints, it's a huge structure. What do we have in here? Do we have anything interesting? And it's not even fully zero initialized. So this is some sort of a format. Okay, so here is the profile where we can probably set the OpenGL profile. And here is the major, here is the minor. So what we have to do, I think, if I remember correctly, we have to replace these calls to setting corresponding fields of the structure, right? So we have profile now, we have a major, I can set it to 3 and minor to 3 like right away. But in terms of the profile, I don't quite remember what we have to set in there. So let's actually go here. So let's find this thing, profile. Okay, so there is an enumeration GL Look at that, and it's already core. Like, we don't have to do anything. But just in case, right? Just in case the value of this thing changes in the future, I'm going to set it to profile. So as you can see, instead of calling these functions, we're setting this stuff. And if I remember correctly, like after that, you have to set this structure back. Right, so you have to do set hints back. Even though it feels like you're getting some mutable global variables, you have to still set them. I suppose to indicate that they should go into effect, right? Okay, that's how we do this kind of stuff in here. Cool. Let's try to recompile this stuff. This is not knob, this is make. Most of the web is just have the AWS wrappers. Yeah, which is kind of weird. So this is the macro. Can you just like use any hoster, right? So what's so special about AWS? Is just like automatic scaling or whatever? So I don't freaking know. It's just a hoster. It's just a hoster. So can we just like change that to curly braces? They were the first, basically. I mean, there were hosting companies before AWS, weren't they? Cost. Okay, so the cost makes sense. I suppose it's the cost thing. All right, so creating window doesn't accept RGFW rect anymore. So we have to probably set. Oh, you set the dimensions directly. Okay, so one thing we can do in here, maybe we can just simply unpack the structure. And what's the definition of the structure? XW. Okay, so let's unpack the structure. It will provide us a lot of service, WS, Kubernetes, database management, ingress, egress. Okay, I see. So it's basically tech fast food. Right, so it's a tech fast food, and just like that's why everybody's using it. Understandable. Get the timer. Okay, so let me see. Do we have... There's no timer. A W timer. So there's a set timer. Ooh. Was the timer functionality removed? Okay, but I mean, it's kind of understandable because it's a graphical library, right? So maybe it's trying to keep its scope small. But I mean, I kind of depended on that functionality. It's just like add get freak and so, but it was never mentioned that it got removed, I suppose. So get timer. So remove get time, set time, but it's actually kind of different. So, all right. I suppose I'll have to come up with something else. What do we use in SDL? So I suppose time to implement a timer. I guess it is time to implement a timer. I can take a look at the previous thing and just take a look at how it was implemented on Linux. So we can just like literally steal a previous code. We can just steal the previous code. Where is the stuff? The previous version. So here are all of the releases. All of the releases. So this is a pre-release, and this is 1.70. So here's the assets. Let me download the Linux. Okay. So, this kind of stuff never stops us. That's the beauty of open source. You can always take the previous version and just steal some of the code that was removed. So at the cost of the migration away, because they find ways to make that especially expensive. Yeah, so basically they're creating something unique, some sort of a unique API that only they implement. So for example, S3, why did I call it correctly? AWS S3, AWS S3. Can anybody explain to me why S3 is even a thing, and why they don't just use like FTP or whatever? Have you thought about that? Simple storage service. Yeah, just think about it. Why this is not simply like an FTP? This is because S3 is the API that is vendor specific to Amazon. By depending on that API, you vendor lock yourself on Amazon. And there's a lot of things like that. And it's kind of bizarre to me that people still have not learned to recognize this kind of pattern. It is really bizarre to me that people have not learned to recognize this pattern that, oh, the company is trying to vendor lock you, and people just happily get vendor locked. And 10 years later, it's like, oh, AWS is down, half of the internet is down. Well, I mean, this is just like you knew what you're signing up for. Like, I mean, so, like, why? FTP doesn't work that well to modern internet. That's not the point, though. My point is that for whatever S3 is doing, there is already well-known APIs that are not vendor specific. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's about not vendor locking yourself. But as far as I know, some people were trying to implement S3 API. Yeah, some people kind of try to implement to vendor lock themselves. But yeah, anyway. So let's just try to unwrap this kind of thing. Okay, so what do we get in here? What do we get in here? Get timer value. Okay, so how was it implemented? I suspect on different platforms it is implemented differently. Right, it is implemented. Okay. So it's just a get clock, but also real time. Look at that. Not monotonic, but real time. Huh. And the frequency is set. Okay, you know what? I can literally just copy paste that into my code. Who said? But it's gonna be platform dependent, right? So I do understand that. By the way, maybe in a newer version, there is get time used somewhere. Okay. So it's now called Linux get time NS, which I suppose stands for nanos. Okay. So it's still there. It is still there. I just have to name it like this. Okay. So, and there is no frequency anymore because the frequency is already baked in here, right? So it's just like and a clock, and you have to say a specific clock though. Specific clock. Where can I get specific? Okay, so is there any wrappers which are cross-platform? Wait for event. Any wrappers which are cross-platform for this specific thing? I think no. I guess all of that is very much is clock get time system call? I didn't think so. I think it just implements a specific system call, but okay, so random name, yeah. So there is this very interesting thing, which is a okay. So I see how it is. Well, since it's a platform dependent thing anyway, I might as well just for now, just to make it compile, just copy paste these two things, right? And let's just go to RGFW, see. So here is another thing. It's kind of funny that to port to a newer version, I'm taking parts of the older version, like parts of the code of the older version, and copy pasting it in here to preserve backward compatibility. All right, so to do make RGFW and RGFW value compile on the rest of the platforms, Windows, Mac OS. But I suppose we're going to be doing like a CI, right? So we're going to be running all of that stuff on CI just to see if it passes or not. And for the rest of the platforms, we might as well just copy paste the rest of the implementations, right? Why not? Anyways, let's freaking go. Let's try to recompile all that stuff. Make b swoon RGFW. So check event, very interesting. So what changed in this specific thing? check event. So this, is that an old one? Yes, it is. So I have to go into the third party. Here it is. So now it accepts the event. Look at that. So it accepts the event. So where's the signature? Here it is, and here is the event. Because before, the way it worked is that it didn't accept any event, but window inside of it had a pre-allocated structure for the event. So what you have to do now, you have to probably factor out this structure somewhere here. So it's going to be event. Let's zero initialize it just in case. You have to pass this like that. And we might as well just take the mentioning of the event in the entirety of this block and just replace it with simply an event. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So let's try to recompile the whole thing. Is it compiling? Okay. So is it failing? All right. So here is the funny thing. So window used to have inside of it the rectangle, its shape, its X and Y, width and height and stuff like that, but it got removed along with the RGFW rect thingy. So, which raises the question, can we, maybe window itself has a width and height? Wait a second, I think I vaguely remember. So RGFW window, is it, I think it's without the underscore, I think it's just a window. How is it called? I do not remember, chat. How is it called? Is that a window? Yeah, it's just a window. Why couldn't I find that? Where is it? Because it's a type def. All right. So here it is. So this rectangle got spread. Okay, so I suppose Riley completely got rid of the RGFW rect structure, and everywhere where it was used, he just spread all the components of that structure. So that's basically what happened. All right, so what we have to do then, we have to probably replace this kind of stuff. Let's just do query replace that with, you know, just that without R. But maybe we also have to take into account the dot, right? So let's query replace that and like this. So that should probably, yeah, so that's probably what we should do. Okay. As PHP people say, explode a rectangle. Yeah, exactly. That's how PHP people do that. Okay, event key. So RGFW event doesn't have a key anymore. Okay, let me take a look. It does have a key, but it's a structure. Okay, so let's take a look at the structure. So where is it implemented? Do you have a key? That's probably where it is. That's probably where it is. It's a value now. Okay. So and a value is one of the enumerations, right? So in num RGFW, probably not here. But anyway, so what we have to do in here, is where is the key? So key. Okay, I'm gonna query replace this with value because that's what we probably need to do. Not sure about this one, right? So I'm gonna just leave it as it is. Okay, the next thing. So flag. Ooh, I do remember this one. So window has flags, different kinds of flags. So essentially like a full screen or not full screen. And I even left a message in here because I found an API for window flags in a newer version, but in an older version I couldn't find it. So, okay, thank you, past me, right? So for giving me a hint, what kind of, okay, so this is perfect actually. So this is probably what we want to do in here. So this is the Windows flag, and I take it from the window, and it gives me U32, and I wonder if that's the correct thing though. So can I just assign this kind of thing like that? Right, because there were window flags. I think they're still there, and it's U32. By the way, interesting macro. Interesting macro. How do you use that? So you do type. What is this macro? Chat. Riley, what the fuck? This is already second pattern that I'm not aware of that I discover in Riley's code. What the fuck? So here you have a type for the enum and the name. Okay, so type and name. So you create a variable with that name and that type, and then you start enumeration. So then the way you use that, what a weird macro. So effectively what you do, type def, type name. So you create a type def for this. Oh my god! I see how, oh, this is clever. Chat, you know what it's all about? You freaking know what it's all about. You freaking know what it's all about. So here, okay, here is the thing. So let's take a look at this stuff. So there is a problem. There is a problem with enumerations in C, right? So if I do something like enum, if I create some sort of an enum, I probably want to actually do it as a type def. Type def. Enum foo, enum bar, enum buzz. Right. What's the size of the type enum? What's the size of the type enum? Right. So if I take a look at the size of the type enum, what is it going to print? What this code is going to print? Let's also remove that. Let's maybe also do std. Ayo! C foo C, and let's just try to call the whole thing 4. Dusky Elf, you are right. You're absolutely right. It is 4. But now, what if I use that in some sort of a structure, right? So I have some sort of a structure, which contains some sort of a state, and enumeration is just like one of the things that I store in here. But then, the state is a structure that I want to send over the network, or I want to store on a hard drive. So each individual field that might be actually down there has to be of a very specific size. For example, this enumeration is rather small, so using 4 bytes, as C does, is too much for such a small enumeration. And if you're sending it over the network or storing it on the hard drive, you may want to use something like, I don't know, U8 like this. But unfortunately, now you lost a little bit of a type safety. Not even type safety, but at least for the sake of documentation, you want to have this type to be enum to tell the user, to tell the potential reader of this code that what you have to assign to this variable is one of these things. But as soon as you say, okay, this is a byte now, you're losing that documentation power. You're losing that type safety. So, and in C, as far as I know, there is no way to say, okay, instead of 4 bytes, aka int, use something else in here, use a different type. There is a way to say that in C++, right? So C++, size of enum. You can specify size of enum. Packed, we're not talking about packed, by the way. We're not talking about packed. We're talking about size of enum. This is a completely different thing. So you can do this kind of stuff in C++. Right, so where is enumeration? I wish there was a quick example in enumeration that would just give me chat. There you go. So this is what you can do. So essentially, let's actually switch to C++. And in C++, I suppose, yeah, let's actually go like this. If we get rid of this stuff, we'll be forced to put enum in here, but that will make it possible to compile with C++. Okay, so I'm explicitly saying treat that as a C++. All right. So, and it wants to also have int, right? Because otherwise it can't find you int 8, right? So, and it says that it's 8. The size of enum is 8, but then I can say, okay, are we back? This is not kick, by the way. My VPN went down. This is one of the reasons why I do not stream with VPN, because it's kind of unstable. It does work for a little bit. It does work for a little bit, but then it may actually, like, you know, require reconnection and stuff like that. So that's why I try to do like that without VPN. So I just turned off the VPN, and it's totally fine. So it's totally fine. We can continue. So as I just like turned off C++, and apparently you can do that in C. is that an extension? Right, just a second. Like C also can do that apparently. So what if I say pedantic? Pedantic. ISO C does not support specifying enum and the line types before C23. Okay, so if I say that the standard has to be C23, it does support that. Okay, that problem was solved in C. In C23. Right. For all the C, it's not a thing. For all the C, it is not a thing. So, right. And like as soon as you can specify the type, you can just put enum in here. And now the field is of correct size. So do you guys understand what kind of problem this thing is solving? Right. So you guys understand. So the problem was is that you couldn't control the size of the enumeration, but now you can. Right, and now this size is preserved, and the documentation power of this kind of declaration is also preserved, which is good, right? So the readability of the code is useful. But again, what if we're working with the code that, like the version of C that doesn't have that support? Riley actually proposed a pretty cool solution, is to have this macro, like this. And I suppose the way you use this macro, right, is that you do type def, and you do RGFW enum, you specify the type that you want to have and the name of the type, and there you go. Right, so you essentially have this thing of a correct size. We can even specify C++ 99. I think it will work with C++ 99. Yeah, so now it works with C++ 99. I can also specify maybe 16, and as you can see the size is 2, right? So I can fully control the size. So how does it work? Well, you can try to substitute this macro, right? So the way you substitute this macro is that you place its body like this. You replaced type with the type, and the type is uint32, and a name with the name enum. So what it does, instead of declaring enum with the name enum, it actually declares type def with the name enum of your specified type, and then declares an anonymous enumeration that only declares these values. So every time you're using this name, you're not using a name of enumeration, you're using this alias, that you alias to the type of a specific type. That's genius. It is. It's pretty cool. This is already the second time Riley's code taught me something new. Thank you so much. This is freaking cool. So yeah. What was the first pattern you saw in codebase? I think it was in examples. Let me show you. So I think it was in examples, and it was something related to shaders. It's something related to shaders. Let me see. So do we have shaders? I think it was GL33, and yeah, that is very cool. So here it is, multi-line string. So usually the way I do multi-line strings for shaders is something like this, right? So I have const char and, for example, shader. And I just use multi-line string capabilities of C. So here I do version 3 something something. I literally put a new line in here, and then I say, okay, void main, new line in here. I clone the string, and this is how I write shaders, right? This is totally how I write shaders. This is how I used to writing shaders. Riley proposed, and I don't know where exactly he got all of these tricks, right? So is this some sort of book? Did you come out yourself? I can take credit for this. My friend MMA came up with this. Okay, that's pretty cool. So you have a pretty cool friends. And this is like a multi-line thing. So the idea is that you put a hash in here. You put a hash in here. And that allows you to express this shader like this. You put multi-line str, and you can just, I suppose you can just code it like that, but I feel like you'll have to encode hash somehow differently, right? So specifically hash will have to be, okay, so it will have to be encoded like this, I suppose, right? And then you also put a new line in here, but I'm not really sure. So this is a core. And then you can just write it as usual, I suppose, right? So you just write it as usual. And this is your multi-line strings. We can even try to confirm that it is a string. So I can try to print this shader. So let's actually see main, forgot a semicolon. Yeah, there you go. So this is a multi-line string. How it works. The idea here is in macro, if it accepts a parameter, and if you put a hash in front of a parameter, it stringifies it. What that means? That means is if I put foo 69 in here, it will translate this entire expression into a string literal so I can actually print it. This is not that interesting, right? So I just printed integer, but with the parameter s. But as far as I know, you can actually put entire expressions in here and it will stringify entire expressions, right? So it takes the entire sequence of tokens in here and it stringifies the sequence of tokens. So which is rather convenient sometimes. What Riley does in here, he accepts variadics. And to insert variadics in a macro, you put va args. So va args basically refers to all of the arguments that you pass as a variadic, and he stringifies them. The thing about the macros is that they don't accept expressions. Right, like C code, it accepts expressions, it understands the syntax. Macros do not understand syntax. They accept sequences of tokens separated by commas. Which means that if I pass something like, I don't know, 69 and then a structure 34, 35, I didn't pass 2 parameters in here. I passed 3. First parameter is 69, second is open curly 34, and third one 35 close curly. That's how macro sees these things. It's a 3 parameters instead of 2. If you want to pass actually 2, there's a special treatment of parentheses, so now you passed 2 of them. But if you do something like that, you passed 3. So essentially, what we're doing here is that we accept variadic and we stringify all of the variadics into a single string. So, and the reason why I will accept variadics in here is that sometimes you may have commas in here. So variadic is needed to account for the commas, right? Because this comma is going to be a separator for these tokens. And so this is going to be the first argument to the macro. This is going to be the second argument to the macro. And the third argument to the macro is going to be the rest of the stuff, right? So you pass 3 arguments in here, and you then just stringify all of them as a single string. C developers will do anything instead of using a normal language, I swear to God. This is cool, right? This is kind of a neat tricks. And like you do have to realize that the only reason these tricks exist is that C is a kind of a shitty language, but I mean, the tricks are still kind of cool. How does multi-line handle commas? Well, I suppose if you do hash va args, it will also stringify the commas. Which means that, let me try. So I'm going to accept the variadics in here, va args, like that. And then I'm going to say, okay, A, B, and C. So, and I just stringify all of them. There we go. So as you can see, we stringified all of them. And the reason why I need to do variadics is that if you just accept like one thing, it is not going to work, right? So because it accepts 3 arguments. So like accepting variadic allows you to accept as many arguments as you want, and it just works correctly, right? It's not shady, just old, I guess. It's old language. People back in the days didn't know how to properly design programming languages. That's why they made it shady, right? Yeah, so you can feel that this language is old, but honestly, it's kind of powerful for an old language, right? So, yeah. C is old and crusty, but at the same time, there was a lot of languages from that era that simply didn't survive. And they're much, much, much shittier than C. I'm just saying. Right. So if you take C and other languages from that era and just try to compare them, they're absolute fucking disaster. Like, holy fuck. Something like COBOL. Is COBOL from the same era? I don't know. Compared to Fortran. Fortran is even older than C. Right, exactly. Compare that to Fortran. Right, so yeah, it's roughly from the same era as C. So back in the days, in the era of C, languages like COBOL were the norm. You have to realize that. For the era the C is coming from, C is a fucking revolutionary. It's a peak language design. So it was literally ahead of its time, right? Because along with C, we had shit like this. And it was normal, right? So it considered, yeah, that's a normal language. I coded it a couple. Did you enjoy it? Was it a good language? Fortran is alive with kicking, yeah. But Fortran is also a little bit modernized. And as far as I know, modern Fortran is actually way more, like, more ergonomic than whatever was the first Fortran. As far as I know, in the first Fortran, you literally have to organize loops through labels, like in assembly. Prolog is 1972, but Prolog is not a comparison to C, neither it is comparison to COBOL. It's not even a compiled language, it's just an interpreted toy language, even to this day. It's only good for recreation programming. As far as I know, like, nobody really uses Prolog in production. The last people who used Prolog in production actually invented a different language for their needs. I'm talking about Erlang. Ericsson was using Prolog in production, and then I realized, bro, like, we can't use that shit anymore. We have to create our own language. So, you know? But again, like, I acknowledge that Prolog is kind of fun for, like, as a puzzle. Prolog itself is a really fun puzzle. It's a really fun puzzle because it has a built-in backtracker, and the puzzle is essentially nudging and tricking the backtracker into doing what you want to do. And it's fun sometimes. It's a fun recreational activity. So just code up live kick seems cool. Okay, I'm glad that you guys enjoy it. But it's a temporary. It's kind of a temporary solution until I get back access to my Twitch. COBOL and IBM mainframes is still used a lot. Well, I mean, I suppose IBM has just poured shit ton of money for this entire thing to not die. Or maybe also there's a lot of, like, clients with shit ton of money that asks IBM to not kill this entire thing. Prolog stream, I think I already streamed Prolog, but I don't think I actually ever archived this thing. Haskell is being used in blockchains now. That is weird. I thought blockchain people use Rust. Why they all of a sudden start to use Haskell? That's kind of weird. But anyways, oh, why am I downloading? Fuck. I downloaded this thing one more time. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's actually continue. So I want to build Suwon RGFW. RGFW. For how long are we streaming? I think, yeah, we're streaming like for an hour, not that long. Okay, so key mode. Let's take a look at RGFW. RGFW key. Was it a key? Yeah, it was a key. Key mode. So that's the enumeration. And it's used. I see. So I suppose what we have to just do something like that. And do we even still have this enumeration? Yeah, pretty cool. Okay, so let me see. Okay, scroll. Okay, scroll. So I suppose it's maybe similar to key. It is not a number anymore. It is not. Yeah. I see. It is not a number anymore. It's now an event. Where is the value? Oh, that is very funny. So now scrolling is two-dimensional. So before it was one-dimensional, and now you have to specify X and Y. Fuck. But I mean, obviously, we just have to specify Y, right? So that's kind of obvious. So state user state. Okay. Anyway, so let's continue the compilation. Swap buffers. Aha. This one is interesting. Swap buffers. OpenGL. All right. So we have to explicitly say that we're dealing with OpenGL. Whale and XLS. Oh, I see. It's kind of interesting. So you're being very specific in this, like in this API. Very, very specific. Very intentional. Sleep. Was it removed? I feel like it was removed, wasn't it? Fuck. Okay, sleep. I feel like it was. I feel like I remember it was removed. You probably have to copy paste that from the older version. Have to reboot kick every few minutes because it craps itself, Peperba. Try using MPV. Like, as far as I know, you can literally do MPV https kick.com. But I'm not sure if you'll be able to use chat. You can pop out the chat. Maybe you'll be able to use https kick.com. So MPV, as far as I know, supports that. Yeah. I'm using MPV and it's great. So, and in the chat window itself, you just popped out the chat, right, like this. You just popped out the chat and you just like using it as a separate thing. I'm pretty sure you can just like take this entire thing, right, and open it in a window in here, and it will probably work. Does it work? Yeah, it does work. So you can probably just do it like that. Yeah. Freak. Okay, so let me put it like this. So it's pretty cool, actually. And then using MPV. Yeah, but I suppose website is still as unstable as Twitch. But that's kind of like the point, right? So we want to test it out. Recursive sorting, yeah. So we need to find le sleep. RGFW. So RGFW sleep. So how is it implemented? Okay, so this is Windows, I presume. mscript, yeah, classic. Oh, it's a WASM, but I mean, oh, it's not WASM. Yeah, you have to like put all of that into a structure because it's all in nanosecond and stuff, and then you have to pass it to nanosleep and whatnot. So yeah, might as well. Maybe. But maybe there is a nanosleep usage in a newer version. No. So all of the timing stuff was removed apparently, just to reduce this the scope of the library, which is understandable. Okay, so RGFW, so get timer, blah blah blah. So make this RGFW sleep. RGFW sleep. Okay. And compiles, I suppose. RGFW. Oh shit. Could not compile. Do I have to? I feel like I have to also initialize OpenGL somehow. So let me take a look at the examples. Right. So I think now I have to explicitly just say initialize OpenGL on whatnot. Yeah. Okay. Make current OpenGL context. So that's the thing we have to do. All right. So RGFW, after we created a window, we have to set the OpenGL context. Setting the OpenGL context. All right. So I did plan on making a small time library for people who still need time function and don't want to use the other alternatives, but I'm currently working on it right now. Don't worry about it. I can just implement all the timing function myself, or just copy paste it from all the versions. So it's not that big of a deal. All right. So RGFW. All right. Soon RGFW and that is sus. Let me see. So it's 7116. 7116. It's a wrong one. 7116 and you have to tell RGL you want OpenGL window. Ooh. It's a lot of flags, right? So do I have to provide all of them? Can I just provide only OpenGL? All right. Can I just provide only OpenGL? Yeah, I do remember that. It's one of the flags. Let's go. So now, if I, there we go. No lag. So compared to with this one, I literally have no idea where is that lag coming from. Absolute badgering. Chat badgering. Yeah, badgering. So that's pretty cool. We did the thing, we ported it. So, but it's not portable per se, right? It's not portable because, yeah. Where's Penger? We didn't compile with the Penger. Just a second. So let me maybe go to make file. We have to explicitly, I think, put depenger in here, and then we compile soon RGFW. So it's disabled by default for people who don't need Penger, but now there's Penger, and everything is working. Everything is working. Very cool. There's still a little bit of a lag, but it's not that much of a lag. Okay, so let's create something like RGFW 181. So that's the new branch in here. And so let's freaking go. Probably don't need any of that stuff. So something like that. I'm a little bit hungry already. So migrate, or maybe upgrade RGFW to 181. I'm gonna push that right into the repo. Let's create a pull request so the CI actually tests all of that stuff. So here's the one. Everybody needs a Penger. We can enable it by default, but I don't know. I remember some people were using, like, genuinely using this application for measuring time, but I wasn't sure if they want a Penger, but I accidentally committed the Penger anyway. So I guess everybody's having Penger now. So what I expect, by the way, is that it's not going to compile on macOS and Windows because we have platform-dependent functions that are not implemented there. Okay, so Linux compiles. That is totally understandable. So do you plan to multi-stream when you back to Twitch? Maybe. So do we have people who prefer Kick more than Twitch? So maybe it's kind of pointless to ask. We need to measure that, right? So when I'm back on Twitch, I'll try to do multi-stream just to see how many viewers are still on Kick, like just to see how many people prefer Kick versus Twitch. So you prefer Kick more. I already prefer Kick from now on. Okay. The Kick is faster, but as you say, Bitstream, it just sheds itself once in a while. I would love to use MPV to watch the stream. MPV works on both Twitch and Kick, so A/B testing, yeah, exactly. What about YouTube? I can't stream on YouTube without VPN, and as you saw, VPN is kind of unstable, right? So it just goes down once in a while. I don't know if maybe it's not really VPN problem, but maybe my VPS provider just like cuts the connection once in a while, right? So because maybe it thinks it's something suspicious. So advanced smooth resize. I don't know if I need that. Just a second, where is my... Because resizing is already fixed, so I just switched to a newer version and it works, right? So I didn't think I need to check that. KGB inspection pause. Well, I mean, the VPS is German, so it's not KGB. So, so your WireGuard is always like disconnecting to... Oh, okay. So the Netherlight WireGuard. I'm also using WireGuard, by the way, and maybe it is actually KGB, right? So Yeah, so it could be KGP, just like detecting the WireGuard traffic and just like periodically disconnects it. So that could be a thing. CIA then. Well, I mean, what's the Secret Services of Germany? I can't remember the name, but I already forgot it. Here's the funny thing. macOS compiles. So all of that shit works on macOS, which I suppose because all of that is POSIX, right? So all of that is POSIX. So let me find SRC, RGFW, and so sleep. Yeah, so that is POSIX, which is understandable. So what we have to do in here is only implement the Windows support. So let me unwrap this entire thing. So, and let's find this kind of stuff, RGFW, sleep. So this is just sleep. And so where is it? Yeah, here is the Windows support, because it's a WinAPI function. WinAPI sleep. So OS X uses POSIX time, but it also has its own separate time API. Okay, but I mean, we're going to be using POSIX because it's just easy. I remember watching some documentary on YouTube where they said that Apple implemented POSIX layer for their operating system because POSIX is what military is using in US. So they literally support POSIX because they want to have like military contracts or something. Is that true? So it's kind of funny, right? I mean, but it also makes sense, right? So the only reason why they support POSIX is just because the military people need that for their systems. Which is, I mean, military people is also always good money. US Air Forces legit uses Win7. Oh, okay. So MS implements POSIX for government contracts. I see. So here is the slip. So this is the function that we're using. It's milliseconds. So, all right. What we're going to do in here is just copy paste this entire thing. And I might as well do something like if defined Win32, we just do that. Otherwise, we do the other thing. And that's the things we're doing. So end if Win32. So we need to implement the rest of the APIs and stuff. So where is it? Okay. So this is. Well, this one is kind of cross-platform, but not really. Well, I mean, on Windows it might be different. Yeah, on Windows you have to query performance count. Yeah. And get, okay, so that's the, oh, it was actually nearby, like I didn't notice. It's all nearby here. All right, so, and I'm just gonna put it in here. So that's the Windows. Large number, large number. Okay, so let me try to compile the whole thing, just to, just to test, and fix Windows build. Let's push that right into the repo and see if it's going to actually fix anything. So, connect your battery system to iCloud, pop up in Afghanistan. Okay. So, did I already create? Yeah, so it's, yeah, there we go. Congrats, RGFW to 1.81. So hopefully it is going to work now. We might as well also automatically close an issue because this thing is associated with an issue, right? So 53. It's an issue 53. So what we can do in here, we can just say close 53. So, and as soon as I merge this entire thing, it is going to be automatically merged, hopefully. Yeah, so I suppose everything is perfect now. Absolute budgeting, almost. So we're waiting for Linux now. Yeah, absolute budgeting. And I'm merging the whole thing. And I delete the branch. So since now RGFW version and SDL versions are equivalent in terms of features, I can probably remove the SDL version. So which is good because I don't want to support two versions. I want to support two versions. I would prefer RGFW version because it just has small amount of dependencies. So it's always good. It is always good. So what do you guys think about Kick? should we stream in here once in a while when the Twitch is not working for me? Right, I think it's a decent alternative, right? So I suppose it has its own downside, but I think it's watchable, right? And it's also streamable for me. It's good. Okay, so it's kind of nice. So I'll also try to upload that to YouTube. I'll see how exactly Kick records the VODs, right? Because I usually download the VODs from Twitch and then upload them and edit them and stuff like that. No ads, yeah, so no ads is also good. I honestly don't like Kick conceptually. Yeah, like I know, like a lot of people just don't like the lore and background of Kick. It's understandable. But we're just like experimenting yeah. We're just experimenting, just like trying to see what works for us the best. Yeah, that was fun. So I fixed the thing that I wanted to fix for quite some time. Can I kick it? Maybe you can. So, but anyways, I guess that's it for today. Thanks everyone who's watching right now. I really appreciate it. Have a good one, and I see you all on the next recreation programming session with Ahu. I miss the Azuz. I love you. Mwah.